Hey guys, it's Danny, and today I'm going to be reviewing the EOS REBEL T5i camera that we got in January of early 2015. This camera is already 6 years old, and the REBEL T5 and the REBEL T line of Canon was one of their best flagship lines in the cameras for the last like about the last 6 years. So this is I'm pretty sure this is a retired line now, but you can still get these for $300. But still, let's see what this does in 2021. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as I said, this is the EOS REBEL T5i Canon camera CCS right here. The lens it has is an 18 to 55 millimeter lens. It's a macro lens, so it's getting really close subjects, like right here. It's like really, it gets really close. See, super close. It has crisp photos. It's awesome. And here the lens is the stabilizer. You can have the stabilizer here. You got your flash. The side of the body is actually pretty iconic. So it's actually pretty cool. You have your output right here. You have your microphone stuff over here. Then you have your controls of over here, your little control ring right here, which is actually pretty cool. I like that a lot. You got your camera button here, your menu, your info, your stuff, all of your shutter button for taking cool photos, and all of that stuff. And the viewfinder, which is right up here. And this camera is actually pretty compact, so you can actually hold it well with one hand. For vlogging, is an excellent camera. And for the focus points, this thing has 9 focus points, which is pretty good. The Canon resolution, the specs for this thing is 18.1 megapixels, 3-inch display with touch focus technology, which is pretty cool. Stereo mic, and it has HDR backlight, and it has night mode portraits and night mode, which is pretty cool. I get into those things a lot later, so that's pretty good. And as for the video, it has 1920 times 1080p, which is full 1080p quality, which is pretty good. And sadly, I didn't really take that much videos with this thing. I've only taken about 4 of them, and that was my YouTube videos. But I'm going to show you a little bit test clips of the Phantom Vision versus the Vapor 11 water test that I did a few months here. In fact, somewhere over in this area. So here's like 20 seconds of the clip.
The thing is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty good, nice and decent. It is really good. The brightness, I'll just turn up to max right here. This thing is pretty tiny. Since I am on my, this thing is pretty decently good. I mean,
These dollars did pretty good. That was in low light. That was not in really good light. And as I see there, my camera cinematics have really improved from there. That was terrible. I was just super terrible back then. But still, we're always improving. We all gotta start from somewhere. So you saw there, it did pretty good. That was with 30 FPS on. With the camera with this, I'm definitely using 24 FPS. I should have known, but with the iPhone, 24 FPS is really choppy. So I use 30 FPS always for my videos. But when a camera like this, it has better sensor, it can focus, it can track the movements way better. I'm gonna use 24 FPS when I get the right camera. So for this, the video recording is a solid B+. Now, what about the photo quality of this thing? Well, this thing shoots 18.1 megapixel raw photos. You can get raw plus JPEG also, but we use always raw. And for the background blur, we always have it always in the middle, so you can get a little bit of the background blur, but still not that much. And this thing has OIS, optical image stabilization included, not IBIS. This is OIS, which back then was a pretty big deal in a camera, because back then you didn't have these 4K sensors. No, you have OIS, which is pretty good. And the ISO range here it goes from 100 to 12,600, which is pretty cool. From 12,600 to 25,800, which is a pretty good ISO range, even today, which is pretty good for low light. This thing will do awesome. Sadly, I didn't really get to test this in low light, so and the video recording doesn't even allow us to anymore. I don't know if Canon took out the soft drop video of this thing. I don't know why it doesn't allow you to do that anymore, but you can't really record on this, so I don't record on this. But the images the thing has is awesome. It has raw images, as I said before. It's 18.1 megapixels. It takes great photos in the sunlight, in the daylight, everything. It has this awesome flash right here, see? And the flash is actually pretty strong. It's actually pretty strong. Once you get like a good subject, it is really strong there. It brightens up anything in its path. So this flash is awesome. And like the images you can get here are pretty good. For portraits, so as for like a camera, since you have a bigger sensor, it keeps blurring out. The farther the farther the things are in the back, it blurs them out. So the closer the things are to the subject, that the person or the thing you're taking it to, it gets less blurry. So this thing does an excellent job. I'm gonna have some photos of them obviously on the screen. They're gonna be really good. So, but there's no fringing, absolutely no fringing, since this is a professional camera. No fringing whatsoever. But one thing that Canon made very clear with this is that this is a photograph camera, not a video camera. But overheating does not overheat, so that is really good. But video is definitely a possibility, but it's not that good. But this is more like a picture camera. And also, this thing has 8 night mode portraits, which is pretty good. We don't really use this in low light, but I've taken 1 or 2 night mode photos. I'll be on the screen. Looks kind of blurry because I wasn't focusing right, because I was showing that for my friends, so I didn't really have the chance to take it good. I was shaking my hands a little bit because I was kind of shaky. But yeah, you have that, and it's pretty good. And then you also have you have stereo microphones up here. You have I'm pretty sure we have 7 microphones on each, but the microphone quality it's good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good quality. As you heard in that video, those were using these mics from the camera, and it's really useful to have an ultra wide camera. Even for like video recording, when it gets super close and you don't have a microphone like I'm doing right now, because mine I don't have it right now. I lost it, but still, if you have like an ultra wide camera, it'll make a big difference. Like this, it has ultra, and this thing has really big. It's a pretty good ultra wide, I gotta say. This is the macro lens, so it has that, which is pretty cool. And for the camera, you have special scene, which is where you can adjust all your things. You have manual exposure. You have aperture priority at AE. Yeah, shutter priority. You have program. You have scene intelligent auto, which is like it like does HDR, yes or no, depending on which scene you are. So that's pretty good. Then you have flash off, no flash, just regular 18 megapixels. Creative audio, which is adjust the setting and uses the flash whether you want to or not. So that's pretty cool. You got portraits, you got landscapes, you got close-ups, you got sports, special scene, which is when you use manual exposure, and backlight. So those are pretty good modes. And right here you got your ISO button, which is pretty good, and you can actually control the ISO from right here, which is I can actually see that it is really good from the manual exposure. So that is really cool to have there. And as for also picture taking quality, one more thing is that this thing does have HDR backlight. Now, one of my complaints, this is like one of the biggest complaints with this camera that I have. The HDR sometimes overdoes it a little bit, as you'll see in some photos on the screen right now. And this thing definitely overdoes it just ever so slightly in bright photos. So when you're like in a dark room and you need a flash, that will brighten the surroundings, which is awesome when you want that. But so I just have to. I don't really like it when I'm using it outside, because it just like the exposures are not that great. Inside, I'm definitely using it because it brightens everything. The faces, it does excellent job. But outside, it doesn't have to do a good job. I haven't found a way to turn it off. I have no idea why, but I haven't found a way to turn it off yet. But I'll chill it on. I don't know, but still, that's one of the things that I have. And also, and yeah, so that is the things there. Really good detail. See by specs. Now let's get on to the performance and the processor in this thing. The performance I said before is really good. It does not overheat when shooting video if you wouldn't want to. It is really good. No, it has DIGIC. Pretty sure that's how you say it. And 5's image signal processor, which is really good. It's really fast. And also there's no the only gripe that I have, I guess the thing is that the time limits is only 30 minutes, so it's not an hour. That's with all Canon cameras standard, I'm pretty sure. So you can, but I found a solution for that. You put your tablet next to you or whatever, and you set a timer for 28 minutes. Once the timer hits 28, you go to your camera, turn it off, and you reset. So that's a pretty good idea. But still, 30 minutes max, maybe an hour, because this thing is not doing 4K, so that's the only thing. But the performance is great. You take a photo, instantly it appears on the screen. Takes a second, and it's instantly on the screen. Now, when taking a night mode portrait, it combines 4 quick shots. And then it turns it into night mode. With all the shots, it processes them to one image and turns all the brightness into the night mode. But for sports, it shoots 5 FPS continuous shooting, which in 5 FPS is still pretty decent camera. Still pretty decent, but still it's 5 FPS, so it's not, it's really good there. But still, night mode takes a little bit more time because you have to put all those photos, and it takes a lot of pressure on the DIGIC processor, but still takes about 5-6 seconds to get a good image on the night mode. But still, it is pretty good. And the night mode is really dope. I love this a lot. I said before, it's one of the dopest things it has. And this camera is super portable. So if you're going to like a zoo, and you're just using like a regular lens, this thing will get you a place where no other cinema camera can get you, because the cinema cameras are big, bulky, they're heavy. But no, this thing is just weighs about 1 pound, I guess, 1.63 pounds. I'm guessing. I'll get Halifax on the screen right about there. But as I said before, grip probability. These things will get you photos that another camera can get you. Well, other cameras will do obviously better job, but this thing will get you great results, and it'll get you those tight spaces. When you need that, when you get like, you see that, just take the picture and it'll optical stabilize it, which is pretty good. And this thing will do a great job. So you have like 2 cam coming in, you can just take it and it'll actually do like the RIS. Also good for photos, so you can just go like this, just take a picture and it'll just make it smooth. So it's really good. And also, this thing, the performance is awesome in this thing. Great job for the image signal processor. It's awesome. Well, what about my complaints on this camera? I have 3 main complaints with this thing. 1, it overdoes the HDR a lot. That's my biggest complaint with this camera. That's the HDR always ever so it just does it way too much. On like cloudy days, I usually keep it out, but the exposure goes way up. Once with HDR, of course. So yeah, that is that. But still, in the dark room, I always use HDR, obviously. But still, that's my biggest trip instead. Second, it only has 30 minutes of max shooting, and it's only 30 FPS max. If you want to get 60 frames per second, you have to use 720p quality. And even 720p, it does a really good job, but still not the best. Of course, 60 FPS max, 30 FPS max, not the best. I mean, it would have been awesome over the 60 FPS at like 1080p still. But I guess it would have overheated because back then that's 2014. So yeah, that'd been awesome. And also, this is not a big deal, but for some people it is, because like if the car breaks or stuff like that, it only has one car slot, so it's not necessarily the best. I mean, still, I know people who just don't like it, but still, it is fairly good. The battery life here is awesome. This is obviously a photograph camera, so I'm not a video camera, so video the battery life is for 1080p, so it lasts about 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. And for photo taking, this will easily last 3 hours just taking photos. This thing easily lasts us the week, and that's because we use a 1,750 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty cool. And we have two actually, so that is really good. We have a 2,000 milliamp hour battery one and this one, so this thing will easily last us over a week. And the charging time takes about 4 hours for fully max battery. So yeah, it's pretty good. The battery life on this thing is awesome. So yeah, guys, these are my thoughts on the Canon EOS REBEL T5i. There's the T7i, there's T3i, and so this is one of Canon's flagship cameras, as I said before. Sadly, that's already like a retired line, I guess you could call it, but they're still on sale now, and you can get them for about $300. I'll leave a link below if you're interested in one of these. And for like cheap, like $200, maybe $200. I'll leave a link below if you want to check that out. And this is more for like a beginner's camera. It's like super easy. The software is just super easy. It's just like one of the easiest things to do. So that is really good. So that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching my review of 6 years later review of the Canon EOS REBEL T5i. And when I get more cameras, I'll do more reviews. Right now, I come out of stuff that I reviewed. I reviewed almost everything. I don't know most reviews, so I'm sorry I haven't uploaded last week. But I mean, yeah. That's about it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.